Dancing shoes. Hello, my name is Bill. I'm one of the lucky ones. I was able to leave and go home early before the dance was done. Today I made a remark on Facebook about how much of life's best advice came to me from people who the world has written off. I wish to share one of those experiences. I was a young man, an 18-year-old sailor, stationed aboard HMCS Terra Nova in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Those days, Sundays were very quiet. Stores closed, families spent the day together, attended church, often worked in the garden, and sometimes went on a family outing, maybe a picnic. As Johnny Cash would say, and there's nothing short of dying that's half as lonesome as the sound of the sleeping city sidewalk and Sunday morning coming down. Yes, I know. Johnny does a much better job. One such Sunday morning found me at the corner of Barrington Street under Halifax's end of the Angus L. MacDonald Bridge. I was in the home of the local bootlegger purchasing a bottle of rum. While there, I met another customer who entertained me with stories about his youth and his love of dancing. He often mentioned that his love of dancing ensured he was never far from his dancing shoes. He was easy to talk to. And because I was enjoying our conversation, I asked, "Have you had lunch?" "No," says he. So I suggested we cross Barrington Street to the corner restaurant, Camille's, where they served English-style fish and chips. To entice him, I offered to buy us a coffee and a feed of their famous cuisine. He accepted, and we sat down to what was to become a moment in my life that would never fade away, never go away, and became part of my understanding of how to live a good life. It was not only an interesting, but an entertaining hour. And I remember how I kept hoping it would not end, at least for a while longer. But life doesn't march to my drummer. I could see he was beginning to fidget and was about to get up and leave. Hoping to prolong our visit, I suggested we have another cup of coffee. He said, "I have an appointment and must leave." I asked, "Is it really important? Can't we sit a little longer?" He looked at me for a few seconds before saying, "Have you not been listening to me, son?" "Yes," says I. "Then," says he, "you heard me speak about my dancing shoes." "Yes," says I. "Well, Bill, what I didn't tell you is that my dancing shoes are now a permanent part of me. I can't take them off. They tell me when to come and when to go. And right now, they are telling me it is time for us to leave so we can dance." Bill, you can't hear the music, but it's calling me. It was at this point that I began to concentrate on the man rather than his stories. And looking at him, I could see he had started to shake. His hands were doing a dance of their own, and I noticed his whole body was beginning to react. By this stage in his life, it is evident that the only music his orchestra played was the blues. He gave me a few moments of silence before once again speaking about his dancing shoes. You could see his mind shuffling through memories, walking back over the years. I put them on when I was about your age and have spent many years dancing. Back then, I loved the dancing. I loved the people who attended the dances. I was usually the first to arrive and the last to leave. They were carefree times. Unfortunately, the fun has gone out of the dancing, but I continue to dance. My shoes are worn thin, my legs are weak, my appetite is gone, and so is most of my health. But I still dance. It matters not if I show up early or late. I still dance. I dance because I always show up with the orchestra. With this, he lifted his bottle of bootleg but low-quality booze and nodded toward it and turned to leave. Taking a few steps toward the door, he stopped, slowly turned, and while lifting the bottle to emphasize its existence, he said, "Do yourself a favor, Bill. Take off those dancing shoes before you can't. If you do, then you will never have to do what I am forced to do right now. My dancing shoes are forcing me to leave your pleasant company and to stop this enjoyable experience just to go somewhere and hide. Somewhere where my worn out dancing shoes and I must dance. But now we dance alone, and no longer do we dance for pleasure." With that, after another few seconds of hesitation, he walked out the door and physically out of my life, but not out of my mind. I didn't quit dancing that day nor that year, but seldom over the next few years did I have a drink that his words did not waltz across my mind. In time, thanks to his words and to the acts of kindness that many people who loved and cared about me, I finally reached down, unlaced, and removed my paralyzing dancing shoes. Thankfully, I did it in time. Those dancing shoes are in storage. They no longer control my life. As I said at the start, I am one of the lucky ones. I was able to go home before the dance was done. I keep those shoes in my mind's storage room, and once in a while, something triggers my mind. And I look at them and I remember. Sadly, too many of those dancing shoe remembers are not good remembers. But thanks to that dancer who visited my youth, the number of uncherished dancing memories which I created in those crippling dancing shoes is far less. Over the years, I have come to see those dancing shoes through his eyes. The craving in his body forced him to embrace his selfish partner, the bottle. And he would need to succumb to the dance that they had taught each other. No longer was it a dance of friends, but of necessity. But it was only through the dance that his hands, his body could quit dancing themselves. But just for a little while. I still dance. But I dance a different dance. I wear a different style of dancing shoes. And with them, it is to a much different brand of music I dance. The orchestra is now supplied not by a destructive substance, but by the experiences I have with the people who pass through my life. Some are family, some are strangers. They walk through my life for many reasons and bring with them many types of music. Often they show up unannounced. Some come empty-handed. Some are filled with joy. Some are in pain. Some need help. Some just want a shoulder to lean on or an ear that will listen with love. While some just drop by to visit. But each orchestra that these people supply creates a beautiful dance of its own. Be it the blues, folk, country, or old-fashioned rock and roll. Whatever they bring, whatever they share of their lives, it always turns into a dance of love, giving me a memory I cherish. So, what was the lesson that the man who was at that time moving into an agitated state trying to tell me? Bill, you have important decisions to make. Choose wisely. As the big guy said many years ago, before you is fire and water, life and death. Stretch forth your hand and choose. Whichever you want, it will be given you. Therefore, choose life. So, what was a fleeting moment in time turned into great advice from the man who I am confident the world wrote off. From the dancer who, because of his choices, was probably forced to make one final dance by himself. And at some point during that lonely dance, closed his eyes and disappeared physically, but not from my mind. His longtime partner, whom he had grown very attached to, probably didn't even look back as it began its search for another dancer. In time, I began to realize his message was not that I need fear dancing. There is no harm in most dancing, and no need to be terrified of most dancing shoes. But we must be careful into which model of dancing shoe we slip our foot. When we choose, we must be careful to pick a pair of shoes that not only love to dance, but dance solely to the music of love, pure love. Pure love is a love that can only be found, filled, and experienced through the dance that happens when we are at peace with ourselves, and therein can allow our hearts to value and enjoy the beauty of others, regardless of the shoes they are wearing. There are many reasons why we may start to dance in the wrong pair of shoes, but not one of those excuses justifies us destroying our life. Because like that man from long ago, whatever his pain, whatever his reason for starting his destructive dance, he was lovable when he put his guard down. He was valuable to a young stranger. He was a song of hope for that young sailor to sing. And so are you. Thank you for listening. Bill Barnes, designer of the Value Vote ballot and developer of the Barnes theory of voting. Have yourselves a great day. Do yourselves a favor. Take a moment. If no one selects you, then you select someone in your world and enjoy a great dance of heart-filled love with them. Thank you.